So Jake will be up here soon. This is going to be the spoilers discussion for A Quiet Place Part 2. Decided to do a live stream format because it seems like it's an easier format, and because spoilers discussions are usually so long anyway, we figured a live stream would be the best option. So I see Keyshawn Howard is in the chat. What's going on? Just waiting. Yeah, sorry, we're a couple minutes late here. You didn't watch Quiet Place 2. Okay. Well, yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, I definitely recommend you go see it and then come back and watch this live stream. This is a live stream, but it'll be on the channel and you'll be able to watch it back as many times as you want. Deal Matrick, what's going on? Yeah, hopefully you've seen it because this is going to be a Quiet Place Part 2 spoilers discussion where we're going to talk about all different kinds of spoilers. We're going to go into extreme depth. I think we're going to probably try to make this video around probably 20 minutes or less talking about the spoilers. But we're going to go into depth of The Quiet Place Part 2. I don't know if that's Jake walking in here or not. But let me see here. Ram, what's going on? Glad to have you in here. Alright. So, basically, A Quiet Place Part 2. Jake has entered the building.
Okay, I'm hilarious right now. I'm still wearing the same clothes. I told you I had to go somewhere, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry about the titling of this video also. I titled it like Movie Mania Weekly Livestream. I'm trying to do something new, but now I just called it Spoilers Discussion and I made this new thumbnail. So now that's the thumbnail for the video. Alright, but here we go. So A Quiet Place Part 2, there's a lot of spoilers to talk about. Not as many as actually as I thought. Because a big spoiler, there's really no big character deaths, in my opinion. I don't think so. But there's a lot of different story elements. So I don't know if which one spoiler. We can kind of just go back and forth. You want to pick one thing you want? Yeah, you couldn't talk about.
I think the biggest spoiler, I guess one of the big spoilers in this film is that you find out another weakness of this. I guess what's the monster called in this universe?
I don't think it has a name.
Whatever they're called, unless one of you guys know, let us know in the comments. But whatever the creatures are in this film, the aliens, obviously we found out in the last one that they were weak to the, I guess, screechy sound of like static between feedback between the girls' hearing aid type thing with the radio. The combo of that and like amplifying it hurt the creatures to where their heads kind of expanded and made them vulnerable to shots. Because other than that, they're completely invincible. We've heard they've taken like bombs, tanks, obviously from our own like military they've survived. They've also survived fire. In this one we saw one walk through fire totally unharmed. But so we knew that the static sound hurt them and it made them easy to be killed because then you could actually shoot them in the head. But in this one we found out that they cannot swim. And we actually saw one drown, which caused an argument to the movie. But they definitely cannot swim, and this was confirmed in a couple different instances, not just the one that we saw jump in after the guy, which I was like, when he jumped in, if this thing swam, they're literally unstoppable. There's nothing you can do. That's what I was thinking, yeah. But it jumped in and just started to like panic, and he was trying to get back on the boat and couldn't. But then we also found out from this island we'll get into that. That was kind of another spoiler that we'll get into next. Yeah. That was the reason why people on islands, if they didn't land there, were basically able to live lives there normally for the most part because they couldn't get to those islands because they can't swim. Well, yeah, so that was the biggest spoiler to me, I think, in this film, outside of that island idea.
At first, I thought the monster was swimming. Like, when it first jumped in, I thought it was about to go, like, Venom fast in the water. Because I was thinking about the water thing the whole time. Because I was thinking about signs and how signs, the water's the weakness. And I was thinking, why don't you try to get to an island? Because in the story of the movie, the big spoiler that I want to talk about is the actual beginning of the movie. There's a baseball game going on. Super normal life. Yeah. It's where day one, where an asteroid comes out of the sky and kind of... It lands. It looks like it might be exploding. You thought you saw like some kind of ship attached to it. We'll have to watch it again. But
I thought I saw a big ship behind the clouds. Yeah. It was coming from the ship. Unless it was just dark clouds, I just thought I saw a bigger ship there.
Well, yeah, it looks like it's coming down. And then after you don't really see it land is the thing, and it's really frustrating. It's from the point of view of just this family. You assume it lands, or at least drops something off. Because then you don't see any impact, and then all of a sudden they're just running. These creatures are running. And I just wanted to say, Godzilla 26, what's going on? Mecha Godzilla, what's going on?
I think it was just one.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I think there had to have been multiple because, I mean, you see the one, it's a really cool shot when it first happens because it's just going and taking people out brutally, just swiping people. And as we mentioned, it's rated R, so they could have been eating people. They could have shown that
Yeah,
if they
they
wanted
could
to.
have been a lot more graphic with it.
But
They didn't get as
weren't
graphic
eating
as they
though.
could have. I mean, obviously, you saw more of the like the impact, like when they were like hitting these people. Like you saw people like bouncing off of cars, off of buildings. It still wasn't as graphic as it could have been.
Yeah.
One guy had two claws stab into his back and pull him out of the garage. That was one of the biggest character death in this film. Was he was only in it for a short time. Well, the cop did die as well. But the guy that they met on the island from Thor or from Guardians of the Galaxy, like Gladiator, he died, which was kind of the. I was not expecting him to kind of back out like that. Which I mean, I know he wanted to protect his family, but that was kind of surprising death to me because they introduced him like this is a big actor. They're not just going to kill him off that quick, and they really do kill him off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing. The next thing I want to talk about, obviously, I really wanted to know more about the beginning. There's really no spoiler because you see the asteroid come out, but you don't know who sent it or whether it was sent from someone, whether something just randomly crashed, where they really came from, what these creatures, anything about where they came from. None of it's explored. But the main thing I want to talk about was the cultist people. I mean, you can call them that. The red-eyed, crazy people that starts out, you see a little girl, and it was like a horror movie. It was like Conjuring because the little girl's there, and it looked scary, but I thought maybe they're just making it look scary because
It was
a little girl.
It was a trap.
Yeah, but then the girl puts the rope around his neck, and so it shows these people are insane.
The reason you saw why she did that, right? It was the rope was attached to like sound, so it can. So if he moved, and obviously we kill them all. If he moved. I don't know why they would do that.
Well, no, that's what I thought.
That's what ends up happening. It was actually a cool like in that scene. It was kind of a good callback to the beginning of the film when this other character, I'm not sure what his name is in the movie, but he's kind of like a family friend to the main family that we followed in the first one.
Cillian.
You saw him sitting there. Yeah, you saw him sitting there at the baseball game, and you could just see that those two got along for the most part. And I think he asked her like, "How do you say dive in sign language?" And she gave that sign, that call back to that moment. Which again, I think those two carried the film, and they had the best relationship. And I think the story was told through both those characters completely. So that was kind of a cool callback there when he told her to jump in the water, and then he took out the main guy basically by making noise. Which for a second I'm like, did they kill him off?
I thought
so frustrated. Which I mean, it would have been one thing if they killed him, but I was in the movie at that point. I was in the entire time. But I was like, they better not kill this guy off. And then he was in the water, like almost suffocating, which he kind of did himself. So I'm like, he better not kill himself here.
Well, that was a really cool scene when the actual aliens came in and were just taking out those idiots because it was kind of like it was like collateral damage moment because there's the insane cultist people, there's the aliens, and then one alien just rips the guy apart, and you kind of catch a wave. You see the water all bloody. That was a cool scene with them running in, and that whole scene in particular really stabs the guy and makes him yell. That was a really well done scene. That was probably one of the best scenes in the movie. Even from the beginning, it was really like a scary scene, and it really expanded the universe because to see that there's these insane people leads to why he had the bear traps out. And it explains why he wasn't trying to help the main characters in the first one. Because he doesn't know if they were good.
I think the reason why I like this movie more than the first one, too, is that going back to the island that they found out, and was kind of a cool way, there was a song playing the radio. I guess the girl tracked the radio station from the location and made the connection with what was being said in the song. There was an island, and she pointed to it on the map. I like this part for a lot of different reasons. For one, it gave you more context of where they were, because I don't recall in the last one them saying where they were in the country. I don't remember that at all, aside from like them living in like a farm type area, which that could be anywhere. I mean, there's a lot of farms across America.
Yeah, they didn't explain anything about the location.
But it also just gave like a goal. The last one, I felt like there was no end game. They were just trying to just manage like one night because at that point the girl was the mom was Emily Blunt's character was pregnant, so she had to give birth, and like someone was separated at the time. I think one of the kids had ran off, so that was like kind of minor, just smaller issues in the grand scheme of things. In this one, there was an end result. Like if they can get to this island, there could be happiness and like they could like continue living their lives normally. And I thought it was important to have like something to strive towards. So I thought that was a really good. I think I like the storyline a lot more in this film. So like once again, it just gave them something to like aim for, and it gave you like hope as a viewer of the movie. Just, unlike now, it doesn't have to have movies don't have to have that, because I mean I loved Annabelle Creation, even though there was really no hope in that film at the end.
I mean, they gave you hope at the end of the first one just because they found a way to beat them. But yeah, I understand like they weren't leading towards it. Like, because you didn't know they were going to defeat him. They found a weakness to it. It wasn't like they found like a way to like defeat him, like all of them, because only they know that. Well, no, that gave you a lot more hope than freaking Annabelle Creation that just
That's what I'm
made you
saying.
depressed.
No, my point was like Annabelle Creation I loved a lot, even though there was zero hope at the end of that film. It was just even though there was kind of hope, but there wasn't much hope.
Hibernation hope.
But anyways,
no, but Doris Sidious, what's going on? And then
another
Deal Manic, I have to go, but I'll make sure to watch the stream when I can. Hey, thanks, appreciate it.
The other spoiler I wanted to talk about, another reason why, I mean, once again, I like this film a lot more than the first one. The more I think about it, I really think I liked it more than just 1 point more. But last film, the big scene that was like brutal and everyone like made like a comment in the theater, like and like grunted was when the Emily Blunt's character stepped in the nail, and you thought that was bad when that happened in that movie. This one, like 10 times upside with the little boy character stepping on a bear trap type. I guess that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's a bear trap.
But it like cuts into his leg, and just it looks so realistic, and like their acting was phenomenal for it, and just knowing the combination of like how painful that was, and these things hear any sound, was just a very tense moment. There's some very tense scenes like where they're running through this warehouse and these things just knocking over cans and chairs and stuff, and I did like the Cillian character's like base underground like that, and it seemed like that thing, a comment he made about how there was a hole, like the concrete's only like 5 feet above. Maybe he was getting chased one time before, because it looked like when that thing went down, it looked like one had already chased him down there before.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they followed him down there, and I thought that was a cool. I just like the base part of it. Like I think when they shut that door, was it like they had a minute before the air went out?
Yeah,
Is that what that part?
It took me a little bit to figure that out, because I was wondering what the beeping was about. I thought at first it was about how long the aliens stay around, but then I realized, it's how much air you have.
And that guy had a little towel.
They had the little towel. There's some really good scenes with that, because they have that towel there to where it doesn't shut, and when that kid shuts it
with a baby
without
inside
the towel, that was just really crazy. Then when Emily Blunt's character comes back and shuts it, I immediately thought, like, oh god, they shut it again, but then they reveal the towel's there, which was a really effective scene.
Yeah, the combination of just that being stuck in there, but then also the air tank they had was going out as well. So like there was a combination of just being stuck in there, period, and then also having that air tank almost going out just made a very tense moment. And then the mom's going down there, and there was the creature blocking her way. She used the fire, and the fire didn't work, and the water was probably the best defense because it made so much noise to where she could just walk around it. So that was kind of where they were there.
For him. It's crazy.
And I think she eventually. No, I guess it was now. See, in this movie, I usually complain a lot when kids do things to like destroy a bigger threat, like the Jurassic World short film we watched. I really did not like how that girl killed the thing with a. I guess she didn't kill it, but she shot it with a bow and arrow or whatever.
Yeah.
Did not buy that for 1 second, but this one, I buy it 100% because these kids have been brought up the last almost 2 years now in this universe, seeing their parents like raise them, teach them different skills, and for one, the girl character is almost a teenager, so I mean, I could see how she would know what to do, and the little boy using the gun easily could have done it. I mean, he's like I said, living in this universe would make you a lot tougher, and they've seen their parents do things that they were able to pick up, so I totally bought that. And I think at this point they both know that they're weak to that sound, so it wasn't like he was just like going out on like a limb to like figure out if this is like what he knew at that point that he was in control and he could just back it off a little bit then shoot. Now I wish they would have had the girl pick up a gun to kill the one in the radio station on the island, because I don't know if a pole would break through the head like that.
Well, I think that's what this kind of sums up, is like it basically says, at least in my mind, that all you need, it doesn't matter, it basically takes nothing to kill him once you get through that layer, is what I'm getting from
I just wish they would have given it more of a better weapon. Even like a sword would have been cool, or like an axe, a sword, a gun, just a round pole in my mind. She was very lucky that that was weak enough to go through there. If it wasn't, that was going to be a life-changing decision right there to hit it with just a pole. Because I think an axe could easily have. I mean, I know axes are heavy, but she's strong enough to pick up an axe and throw it.
I feel like for the point of the movie, I think there's a reason why they had something like that. Because I was thinking, when she picked it up, I was like, is that a like electrical thing? Is that a gun? Like, it's just a pole. But then I'm assuming they mean like that's their defense. Once you get through that, you basically need nothing. Which I'm guessing is hinting towards they'll be able to take these things out now, because that's all you need.
That would be cool. I mean, I'm not sure that they would ever do this in this universe, but almost make like a war-like movie where you see we take the world back. I know this is like led by this family, so it's kind of hard to make it that large scale, but almost have Cillian like lead. Maybe the girl grows up and she's like an adult now, and it, like they lead like almost like a Terminator like rebellion against these things, and they
Yeah.
battle, even though
You have to fight the
even
other
though
guys
even though
too.
the battles can't be that intense, because once they're using their advantage, they're not really, they can't fight themselves. So it'd just be like them taking out things. So maybe like they could do a thing like taking back the country, taking back the world, using their advantages, and maybe you find, like we were talking about. I don't think those creatures could fly a ship. Maybe there's like a more, I guess, advanced or like knowledgeable alien that's using those things. It's even cooler, and that's where like the war breaks out. So there's a lot of ways that you could go with this universe. And quickly, I just want to make a comment on like I think the coolest shot in the movie. There's a lot of great scenes, but that girl character with her like obviously being deaf, she was in a train and she can't hear anything anyways. And I think like the camera, it was after she had tried to reach the first aid kit, and that like body fell back, which is why the door wasn't opening all the way. And it turned the camera around, and you saw one of those things walking down the middle of the train, like silent. I thought it was a really cool shot. I remember in our theater, a couple people like moaned for a second. It's like, oh my god, it's coming that way. And I thought for a second, I mean, I didn't think she was gonna die, but I was trying to figure out who was gonna save her there. I thought it was too soon after Emily Blunt's character told the guy to leave. I'm like, there's no way he's already caught up to her, but he did, and he shot the thing. I mean, they killed, how many creatures were killed in this?
Well, I mean, the
5?
one thing, a lot of them were. That's the thing that really bothers me, though. Something about movies that I really didn't mention in the review that much is the use of guns. And whenever kids are using guns, I always say something about this, but to shoot a shotgun with one hand, there is just no effing way.
Well, she didn't.
Like,
she didn't kill him.
well, but she was able to shoot it with one gun and not. Like, that's something I just noticed, that it's like there's no way someone, especially a kid, could shoot a shotgun with one hand.
She's a teen.
I don't even think a full-grown adult could shoot a gun with one hand.
Despite that, though, to the movie's credit, that she didn't kill it with a shotgun.
She was able to shoot it. I was just saying how she was able to shoot it, though.
I give the movie credit. She shot with a shotgun, and it didn't kill it. Like, that was the first time that a shot's been pulled on one, at least from this family, and it hasn't actually died. So I give her the movie respect for that. Yeah. For not having her actually kill it with just one hand shot of a shotgun. Did she reload it and shoot again, or did she?
She tried to reload it, then it got like stuck. So that was realistic that aspect. Because she probably wouldn't know how to work the guns perfectly, especially big shotgun.
And that was right after the one cheap jump scare we kind of alluded to in the non-spoiler review. The crows going through. I think it got everyone our row to jump. It's like, well, that wasn't. Yeah. I was expecting like a.
That was the one that got me, and it was kind of. It was definitely cheap.
I was expecting one of the bodies to just move randomly on the ground.
Well, Kijan says, I really like those things from Quiet Place. They're very interesting. Yeah, they definitely are. Really interesting design. And he said, guns can't do anything to those monsters. Well, yeah, they can't do anything, especially to the shell. But once you expose them, it definitely is shown to be able to do that. Because even a pole can hurt them now. Well, I know you haven't seen the movie yet, but...
Well, one more thing I guess I'd say that the last one had this one a little bit better on was, there was definitely... Even though the last death for the dad I thought was... It wasn't even shocking. It was just annoying to me because it was such an avoidable death that he could have avoided in a million different ways. I mean, he could have thrown a bat against a building or make any sound around where they're at, and they're gonna run to the sound. You don't have to yell yourself and then not move. But basically, the last one had the most shocking death. Where I'm not in shock now, but just as far as going to movies, that opening of the last one.
Oh, the kid.
Just the kid dying, like, immediately. And that shot with, like, the tension of the kid, like, the thing going off, and then the shot from the dad running back, and you just see it cut out right as that thing is just brutally going to just hammer that little kid was... I mean, usually kids don't die in any type of movie, and for that one to start out with a 4 or 5-year-old boy just getting taken out like that was, I think, the most shocking death so far out of both films. This one, like I said, there wasn't any deaths at all, but that was, I think, by far better... I guess a more shocking death sequence. So that's there's a couple things I thought the last one did better. I think it might have been scarier and also more shocking with the deaths, but this one was just a better overall movie to me.
I think I just noticed that kid in the first one. I'm pretty sure is Hawkeye's kid. In Endgame, I'm pretty sure. I just was remembering that.
Where the one
when he's like, honey, and runs through the field. No, the first one. The one that gets killed is the kid in Endgame, I'm pretty sure. I just, for some reason, drew that connection. But, no, something else I wanted to say about the spoilers is something that you don't really figure out, but it's just that main subplot with the crazy red-eyed people. Because you see Cillian Murphy's character... Just Bloodshot? Well,
they weren't zombies, obviously.
Obviously not zombies, but they're really messed up. But I don't know why all their eyes were red.
Because they're probably like, they haven't slept. Looks like they're freaking like insane. They've
but there's a lot of things.
Water.
There's a lot of things that aren't explained with that. But I was just really interested because Cillian Murphy's character says, he didn't help people with the fire because he was worried about. He said people in this world aren't the same. But so I'd be really interested to see how widespread that is. Obviously, the people on the island are good, but the people that or the crazy people, I'm really wondering. The movie can do whatever they want because they haven't explored it. I wonder how widespread that is. How many people are insane like that? Was it just one group around there, or is it like millions? Like you really don't know.
That's two questions I have. For one, I'm not sure what were they doing to the girl. Were they like gonna kill her? Were they had her? They like made her like take the bag and her clothes off for a second, like her like jacket off, and we're walking her somewhere. I'm not really sure what they were gonna do. So there was no answer to that. And the other question I had was why that. Even though I like the Cillian character a lot, what was it like his reasoning? I know he said that people weren't worth saving, but if they were that good of friends with each other, I don't know why he would have never. I know he said like he was. I think he was probably depressed a bit because he thought he didn't do enough to save his kids, his kid or kids, and his wife died because he didn't do enough. So maybe he just shut down. But it sounded like he knew that was his friend putting the fire up, and if he was putting fire up, then that's almost like a sign, like they're both there doing the same things. I don't understand why. I'm not sure why either of them didn't go to each other. Because, I mean, Cillian didn't go to them, but he never went to them either. So why didn't they go back and forth? That makes zero sense to me. They were that great of friends. So, because, like, the little girl, the girl character, again, I thought was going the same route of being annoying and not liking someone. Because I will say, at the beginning, I was like, she's not about to be a jerk to this guy for no reason. But then there's more backstory, and they develop that. But I still don't understand why neither of those families try to link up immediately. I mean, I get at first you want to be in, like, safe and watch out for your own family. But it was almost like a year over. Was it 2 or? Was it 2 years? What day was what was the last day? 300 something.
Yeah, it was the first one's with 80 days in. I think the next one's 400 something days in.
So it's a little over 2 years, or a little under 2 years. You would think that those people would have met up or something, especially with phones. I mean, I guarantee the phones would have worked
well, it seems
for a while, and I mean, at least a couple weeks or months after this whole thing started.
I think the reason he didn't go, Cillian Murphy didn't go see him at first was because he was just depressed, I think, and then I think he used the excuse of people were really weird out here. I think that's probably what he did. Because he probably wasn't excited to see anyone else when his family was
I guess to the movie's credit as well, they did say, Emily Blunt's character said, when did you lose your kid? And he said, day one. So day one, he lost his kid. He got eaten or just killed that day. So I guess that's why he might have shut down immediately. And then his wife died, I guess, a lot later on, but died due to some sickness. So I guess I can understand from his point of view, but I don't understand why the family that we follow, they never went to try to find them.
Yeah. Karna fanboy, Movie Mania, stop exposing our secret about catching Bigfoot. I don't really know what you're saying about that, but Keyjon, dang, I should really start watching the movie. Quiet Place Part 2. Those kills must be brutal. There are some brutal kills in the movie. You should definitely go see it. I'd highly recommend it. We both gave it a 9 out of 10. It's definitely a quality movie and really good movie. There's some really good scenes in it and definitely worth seeing in the theater for sure. Because there's some great, all the sound effects and visuals. It's meant to be seen in the theater for sure. It feels more like a Halloween movie. It really does. But I think it could be seen at this time. Because Conjuring's coming out next week, so.
Yeah.
I mean, Halloween time is when Halloween Kills comes out.
Well, Conjuring comes out next Saturday, this coming Friday?
Yeah, maybe Thursday they do the previews again. I don't know if theaters will open up again. But yeah, Conjuring review will be coming next week. I'm trying to think if there's any other spoilers we didn't talk about. I mean, I really wish they could have explored where the aliens came from. That was some big spoiler that you see the asteroid come down, but you don't see even like where they come out of. It's kind of like the Pennywise thing with it. They do the sequel and you still don't find out where he came from or anything about that.
I think one spoiler was that the girl can talk. Did she ever say a word in the last one? She was able to enunciate words. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, is she actually deaf? And how does she know how to talk if she's deaf?
Well, deaf people can still barely put words together.
But how do they know? They've never heard sounds.
Well, that's why it usually sounds pretty bad because they can barely put the words somewhat together. But
she was. I understood every word she said when she enunciated words.
Yeah, it sounded fine. But
how does she know how to say anything? She's never heard any. Did she start out with sounds and then she went deaf when she was a kid, or was she deaf from birth? Because I don't understand how you could actually. If I was deaf my entire life,
I've only heard
how would you not make any sounds?
I've only heard a few deaf people talk, but I do hear them sometimes in videos where they say words that are similar to what it is, but
how do they not make any sounds at all?
Well, you still feel like vibrations and stuff, so it could sound something
I don't
like
understand that's possible, but
I mean, I've seen it usually isn't too good. I think the subtitles
pretty
make
good
it
for-
seem like it was pretty good because we were reading the
I
subtitles.
just don't know how you not make any sounds at all.
Well, if she was able to talk at one point or hear at one point, then
Well, yeah,
That
that's
was
not. I can
huge,
understand
right?
that, but
even if she didn't, you'd still feel vibrations and still.
well, I guess that was
Really
I guess
close.
that happened in the last one too. We should have watched the first one before we watched this one again. But I guess the dad finally made a thing for her ears that she was able to hear sound waves. I guess because remember they had
He was trying to
the
figure
one
something
thing
out.
that because it seemed like something finally broke through because he like tried a million different ways to build something up for her ears where she could pick up like at least it was not totally silent because in this one whenever she loses that thing that she uses as a weapon against the creatures. It's like it just goes completely silent, but then with that there's that, like static sound,
It's gotta help something.
which because that was the one weird scene that we didn't talk about was when she immediately woke up from like sleeping one night or I guess in the morning and she woke up and was like panicking because she lost her ear thing and she realized that machine was gone too, and I guess in my mind I guess she thought that the guy left her because she went outside and was like panicking, but then it's almost like she saw something and got on her knees and started to cry, but then with like maybe 5 seconds after that. That guy's right there, and he's like, I was expecting him to be holding a gun into her face or something ridiculous.
I thought he was gonna be
like,
dead.
I thought he was either gonna be hanging in a tree or pointing a gun at her. He's like, why would you be this upset? And then he looks at her and he's like, I found a boat. Like, okay, why was that such an emotional wake up when
That was weird.
when he wasn't like? There's no way unless she didn't see him. I was a little confused by that, but that was one thing I wanted to talk about just because I thought that was kind of it was kind of funny. There were some funny scenes despite this being a very like sad. Like brutally realistic movie with him trying to talk to her and she can't understand a word that he's saying. Like everything he said, like even when he said I found a boat, how does she know what he just said? Like he's holding her sound.
Well, yeah, she told him to pronunciate more, and I'm guessing that, like you said, that hearing thing must do something. I don't know what it would do. She said to enunciate more, but I still thought even after she said that, he wasn't pronunciating enough with the longer sentences to understand. But they were whispering in certain parts, which is what I was thinking in the first place. I was thinking if you whispered quiet enough. You actually could talk, and they do that sometimes. Because the things they don't hear so well, like if you drop a pin, or if you like barely
you can make some sounds.
Yeah, you can make like little sounds without it. You obviously don't want to make anything, because it might draw in, but they could whisper in the movie really quietly and still get away with it.
I mean, that conversation that they had on the beach when they were like saying that like really cool like overlooking the beach in the morning. Like he was like talking like a long phrase, not even looking at her. I don't know how I don't know how she heard a word that he said. But I mean, it's a really cool emotional scene. But I was thinking to myself like, how does she know anything he's saying right now? Besides like, I mean, I guess he said. I mean, I guess she kind of could tell what he was saying, even though she didn't hear every exact word. But that one scene I thought was funny was when like he literally just saved her from a train inside the train, and there's one more coming, and he's like trying to talk to her. And she's like, she has no clue. He's like, God dang it. He says God dang it twice. Yeah. He tried to say it once, and he tries to say it again. He's like, I am taking you effing all the way back.
Yeah. But just something actually really important in the beginning of the movie is they didn't just learn sign language during the thing.
Yeah.
That was something really important. The fact that they were already using it before made it to where they were basically the best suited for the world. Because they already were using sign language. Yeah. You see with the baseball field from far away. That's really important.
The mom and the dad doing that.
Yeah, because that translates. Not only does, having a kid that's deaf obviously makes you want to use it. But that was really important for the movie.
That's true.
So many different aspects. It just carried right into the movie.
Like both the brother and sister, the deaf girl and her brother had like a full minute conversation just with sign language, and that he's like the boy. Like I guess in that family they all learned sign language to where he's. I remember when
was
they're in
the
that
boy
thing.
deaf too?
No, the boy can talk. No, definitely not. But the reason why he was doing the sign, like he was really good with the sign language, talking to her inside that like little thing. But I remember the last one, he was talking to his dad at the waterfall and stuff.
For some reason, I was wondering if he was like becoming deaf, but I think I was confusing Walking Dead.
I think it's also like the reason why you may think that's because they just like I guess sign language makes so much more sense because you can just talk silently. Because the mom was talking to the boy a bunch of times, not saying anything. Even I think they could have got away with whispering. Because like right now, like in our house, like we could be talking right now. I don't think anyone would be hearing us.
Any aliens?
Like if we were right here, maybe not by a window, but like there's nothing in here for right now.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to test that out.
I guess at some point he's freaking shattering during a review.
I mean, obviously, I know like you don't even want any sound like to try to, because you don't know. Sometimes you don't even know if they're near or not. But I do think comparing this with Signs, maybe the last thing to wrap it up is these are both really good alien movies. The first Quiet Place is a great alien movie. I love when alien movies actually make it grounded. They don't do anything too insane. World War Z and Independence Day, they're fine movies, but I like the ones that are more grounded, just like one family. There's a physical alien running around, not like Dark Skies that totally just peed me off. They were like ghosts. I like a physical presence alien just crawling around. What do you think's better, Signs or Quiet Place? For alien movies.
I mean, I think Signs was scarier and had like the more realistic feeling to me, just because it was like filmed. I feel like the older films just seem more real for some reason.
Yeah.
But this one I think was more. They're totally different takes on aliens, so it's hard to compare these two movies.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I think they're the top tier of alien movies for sure. These two, like Signs and both the Quiet Place movies. But the last spoiler I thought we should talk about is the ending, because I thought I was kind of surprised that it just cut off. I can't remember where the last shot was. I think it was just like they had just killed the two ones that were kind of like closing in on both the two groups, the mom, the boy, and the baby.
The mom gets stabbed at the end.
So she gets stabbed in her leg.
She gets like her leg sliced open.
I guess the only thing that saves that is she did go to the pharmacy. She picked up the stuff needed to help save the boy, so then he wasn't in too much pain. So they are able to get. I guess they're in a good spot because she can use the stuff that she just got to heal the boy's leg, and her cut. I mean, I guess it wasn't enough to like knock her out, so she was totally fine from that. I guess.
It's like a Claire.
But they were there. Yeah, it was pretty close to that. And then the girl and Cillian's character were in the radio station, but then it cuts off, and it was kind of weird to me because the mom has no clue. In all honesty, she might think that her daughter and that guy's dead, but she has no idea where they're at. I mean, I guess when the only thing maybe was when she put the speaker, her hearing aid on the radio speaker, maybe if. Because she told her brother to keep listening, so maybe if he goes to the radio and hears that sound, he'll be like, "Oh my God, that's her hearing aid wherever this place is."
The guy could talk into it, maybe.
But did they ever tell anything about? I guess the boy heard her plan, but the mom never heard where she was going. So I guess the boy would say, "Well, I guess she's going to this island." So I guess the next one could pick up from. I mean, I think it would be smart if Cillian and her sent a group back to like go tell them, obviously, because I mean, how long of a walk was that, a day to get to where they were?
Yeah, I think it was a day.
I didn't hear what he said, because the guy asked how long did it take to get here. I didn't hear what he said. I thought he said like 2 months or something ridiculous. I don't think it's like that.
He said a day, and he's like, well, that's with the determination or whatever.
Yeah, so like I guess they could just go back to get them, or the next one picks up with them, just trying to link back up on that island, and then just I would like if each movie just keeps expanding upon what goes on. We still have not seen. I don't think any kind of shot of our military fighting. Was there one in the first one where you saw like a tank shooting one?
Well,
or was that?
I was just gonna say the what's her name? The main actor, Emily Blunt, and the kid. They're not going anywhere. I mean, for multiple reasons. First of all, they don't know where to go, and they're both injured. Like, I mean, Emily Blunt's leg is literally sliced up. I don't know how bad it was, because those things can cut through like silos. So her leg is freaking done. They have the baby, and the kid's foot is still like cut. So it's gonna be basically them sitting there waiting for the other two to come back.
They would know where to go, because the sister told the brother where they were going, and she's exactly where. Yeah, she did. That's why he said you can't do that, or else I'll tell mom.
Okay.
So I guess they would know where to go, at least because
physically, I don't think they can make it though.
But yeah, with a baby and it's like their situation, it's probably not smart for them to leave. I still think it's so dumb of them to have had a baby in the first place, unless they say they had a baby before.
It had to have been before
it started.
I mean, because it was day 80 when yeah,
it had to have been. Even though they didn't really. Yeah. Even though she didn't look too pregnant in the beginning of that film.
Yeah.
They really should have just went that route and just said she was pregnant before it started. But I'll check that again when we see it again. But
unless you find an island, then you're fine.
But I think and the last thing I'll say is that Emily Blunt's character needs to start like looking forward before she walks, because so far the last two films she steps on a nail, and in this one she perfectly steps into a rope. Like you're going into like a trespassing area where there's been flames seen. You may want to like watch your step, because she's the one that started the running in the first place. She stepped over that wire that lowered the cans, and they just panicked and started to run. Which the last thing I'll say is I thought that the boy was gonna be shot at the beginning, because I didn't know who had the gun in the first place, but like it was it was zoning in on the boy's head, and then it cut away, and then the boy ran, and then right when I thought he was gonna get shot, he stepped on the bear trap. So
yeah,
I thought I heard someone say when we were buying our tickets, like someone had died, and that's why you got mad. So I was like, maybe this boy gets killed off in the beginning.
Yeah, someone was freaking saying what they thought of the movie like out loud in the middle of the theater when we were buying the tickets. I was about to kick the crap out of them. But no, I'll just read some comments here from, let's see, Smilezilla says, "Are you planning on watching Godzilla Singular Point that's coming on Netflix in June of 2021?" I have not heard of that, but I'll definitely check it out. I have Netflix, so I'm planning on watching the Pacific Rim series, but I'll definitely try to check that one out. Kijan, who do you think would win, Alien or Monster from Quiet Place? So this, I'm guessing you mean the Signs Alien or the Quiet Place. The Quiet Place would just shred the Signs Alien. I mean, that
Yeah,
wouldn't be
there's
close.
no, yeah, there's. I mean, Meryl could hit him with a freaking bat.
I mean, the Signs Aliens are very quick, but there's just no way. I mean,
They're not even
Quiet
close
Place,
to being as quick as these.
well, it jumped on a roof 10 feet high.
Yeah.
I mean, and Meryl's pretty strong and pretty fast.
Meryl. These ones are like literally outrunning cars.
No, Meryl's pretty strong and pretty fast. And he was just toying with him. But yeah, that would be.
These ones are really indestructible.
Yeah, they're too strong. I mean, they're cutting open silos.
No, they're indestructible unless you're able to put them in water or make that screeching sound and make them like start to like back off.
Which the which we can't put that in there. But the thing is, the Signs though, the dog, it was able to kill a German Shepherd, which is kind of impressive.
Okay, let's not compare. Hey,
I mean,
hey, those things. Hey, those things literally just they derailed a train.
I know.
A train was off its tracks.
Okay,
one pushed it off the tracks.
I already said the Quiet Place monster would shred the Signs, but I'm just trying to give the Signs one some credit here because they were able to jump on a roof. They're able to run really fast.
Actually,
and they're able to toy with Meryl, and Meryl's
that's one
a
thing
boss.
too. That scene in the beginning when they're in that store hiding, it kind of gave me a Jurassic movie type feel with them hiding in that building, and there's like a dinosaur walking down the street. It kind of like remember you saw like the silhouette of it. That really gave me a feel of like. I'm hoping that's what they pull off in the Jurassic World Dominion movies. They give you that feel of like because a dinosaur could literally just walk down the street, and how scary that would be if you're trying to hide in a building like a T-Rex is like right there or. Yeah. Like, whatever it could be. That Jurassic World movie, I think, is going to be hopefully really good. Because there's a lot of... The fact that they're in our own society with how it is today, there's a lot of cool scenarios they could play out in that movie.
Yeah. It's not a Quiet Place, man. No,
I was talking about the scene from Quiet Place.
Yeah. But Carno Fanboy, yeah, I agree. German Shepherds are really cool dogs. And it sucks that... That's the thing, the Signs movie, they killed 2 of them. They did the terrible rule of killing a dog in a movie. But luckily this one, spoilers, no dog dies in this movie. I mean, dogs definitely die, but you don't see them die. That's a positive.
Yeah, so you see
so
you saw a few dogs.
Yeah, wait, what, at the beginning? Oh, yeah, the beginning, yeah, because a dog barks at a dog barks at the asteroid.
Yeah, a couple dogs bark. There's one in the car and then one that barked at the asteroid.
Either of you guys like the last stuffed mushroom? Sure, I'd love some. Oh yeah, well, there's one more thing I want to mention because there could be a great ride for this movie, especially the beginning. This is the last thing, is the beginning chase scene where Emily Blunt's character is driving and then puts the car in reverse and like going away from the bus and you see the alien climb out. That was a really cool shot. I remember seeing that in the trailer a little bit, but that was such a well done scene.
The bus driving towards them.
Yeah, and she like backed up and you saw it climbing out. That was such a well-done scene. There's so many well-done scenes in this movie that is why I give it a 9. Yeah. I think this movie's going to age really well, but I definitely would recommend this movie. And Carno Fanboy, the breaking rule, and giving it a 15 out of 10. But basically, thank you, everyone, for tuning into the live stream. I know I called this something different before, but we also were live streaming a little earlier, so hopefully some people that usually aren't able to watch were able to watch. I'll try to switch up the time to try to get as many people into the live stream as possible. But this is our spoilers discussion for A Quiet Place Part 2. We definitely recommend it. And we will see you.
And go support films like these.
Yeah, and have a good, happy Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
And you want to wrap it up?
Yep. Thanks for watching our live stream, guys. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Say goodbye.
See you, Kijan. See you, Carno.
See you, Kijan. Carno.